All right, we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome. My name is Chris, and this is We Love Comics. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, whether you are watching it live or watching it later. Always appreciated. I was going to do this video yesterday, but yesterday was my wife and I's 13th anniversary. And also, as of today, she went to fly home to visit her parents for the remainder of the week. So I'm here by myself. So I wanted to make sure that I was around by my wife's side as much as I could yesterday. So I'm sure you will all understand that. But I got a letter just the other day that I actually thought was payments starting to come in for the auction that I did. And I want to thank also a quick shout out to Trade Paper Dad, because I just got one of his payments for the auction, sent money order, and I'm not disclosing payment information or anything. If he wants to do that, he can. But that's what I thought this was from one of the people that bought a couple of different comics for me from the auction, and even one big one from uh, that one that wasn't in the auction, but it was one that I was actually willing to trade, and they made an offer that I just thought was fair, and I ended up selling it to him. So I thought this was just an interesting way to send the payment because he also sends money orders my way as well. But when I opened it, to my surprise, that's not what it was. So I thought I would share this. And then afterwards, I'm going to show something because I haven't been doing the unboxings for the toys and stuff that I've been having my mother ship back from my from my move that I couldn't bring with me because basically no one was watching it, so that meant that most people didn't care. But I got a box. It's only got two things, but they're both the same thing that I totally forgot that I bought at one point. And actually have a little bit of value in them for once, so go figure. So I'll show that afterwards for people who like the unboxings. It's not comic related, but still something, if you could find them, definitely has some value to them. So with that being said, we have a new Patreon member, so we're getting closer to the minimum of 20 Patreon members to start the giveaway contests every month. So if you want to join and become a Patreon member, you can go to patreon.com/we-love-comics. And there's no required amount to be able to enter into the contest. The minimum to join anywhere on Patreon is $2 a month. So you could do the minimum if you want. But every video I do a shout out. So let's give the shout outs to my current paid for Patreon members. So to get to the 20, it has to be 20 paid members. So if you're thinking about it, by all means, go to patreon.com/we love comics. So shout out to Carl, Sith, Scott, Michael B., Kevin W., James R., Herbert R., Darth Bleak, who also wants to be known as Stephen L. Turk author on his Facebook page. So he just wrote a book, which, by the way, he messaged me and said he would like to send me an autographed copy of his first book. I would be honored to accept such a wonderful gift. So you can contact me at peacefulfeelings@yahoo.com with that. But if you have Facebook, go check out Darth Bleak at Stephen L. Turk author on his Facebook page. We got the newest member is Kim N. He's our newest one. And then last but not least, we have Silver Age Surfer _comics. So if you have Instagram accounts on your computer, or if you'd like to sign up for Instagram, go to Silver Age Surfer _comics and tell them We Love Comics sent you. So the newest one is Kim N. Welcome, and I am very much appreciative of what you did because this video is basically about this person. So the contest I was talking about, if we get to 20 paid members, and right now we're getting closer because we have a total of 11 with this situation. It starts out with tier one unopened baseball card packs that I have. I have literally dozens of different types of baseball cards that are unopened packs going back as far as 1986. So once we get to 20 paid members, you'll get the first level of those, 30 paid members. There's a second level, and then so on and so on. You could read that and pause it if you want to. There is no minimum to enter. Like I said, there's a $2 minimum to enter anywhere on Patreon, but you get one entry every contest for every $2 you apply to your monthly Patreon account with We Love Comics. So the more you put into your Patreon account each month, the more entries you will receive. So I'll leave that up to you if you want to wait until there's at least 20 before you do something like that, or you switch it around from different levels to take different chances. I'll leave that up to you. To me, I am one of those people that appreciates anything. But the one thing I always do want to mention, like you see here, the person who supports the most will always be named last with the shout outs. Um, that's just my way of saying thank you and giving them a little bit extra. I mean, everybody gets shouted out, but that's my way of saying that I acknowledge what that person did. Doesn't mean I don't appreciate everybody else, because that's why I don't talk about dollar amounts. But if you want to join, we're getting close to that Patreon monthly giveaway starting every month. We have those at least 20 minimum for the paid members. I'm looking to trade for some comics. Haven't gotten one yet. I am not going to give up on it. As you see on the screen, there's a whole bunch of different comics I'm looking to acquire. As of now, I just do not have the physical money to be able to purchase one of these cash. So trades are the next best thing. Saves on shipping, keeps the government out of our business, allows people to not have to spend money to get comics that they would love. So if you know anybody that has these books, or maybe an extra one of Amazing Fantasy 15, check out the video I did about a week and a half ago showing all the comics I am willing to trade to get one of those books. I'd love to get them all, but I'd be happy with just one. Any of my comics are up for at least asking about, even if you didn't see it in that video. So if you saw something on the walls, on the racks that you see to the left of me when the video goes on, or in a previous video, you can always ask. So contact me at peacefulfeelings@yahoo.com. All right, so let's get into it. So I got this letter, and like I said, it was the other day, but yesterday was my wife and I's 13th wedding anniversary, so didn't make a video. And I got this. I thought it was one of the payments that he was making. So I opened it up, and it's a card that says, "We hope that you're feeling better than yesterday." So I thought, all right, maybe they sent cash, because I've had people do it, or the money order, and they just wanted to make sure they put it in this, so it's, it's not something where you could look through the envelope. And he included this, which was not a payment. And that's why he's on the Patreon. And he wrote this to me. It's a nice little note he wrote me. So I wanted to give a personal shout out to Kim for doing this. It says, Chris, hopefully all is well. Patreon doesn't work for me because my data has been compromised so many times. I can understand that, and I'm sorry to hear that's happened to you, but trust me, I can completely understand. I'm sure many people can relate. Um, I value what you and your wife do for the cats. Um, I think he says my mom, or I'm not sure, is doing the same thing, just feeding them and nothing. Unfortunately, it's some of the handwriting I can't read, unfortunately, so forgive me on this. Just feeding them. Oh, so I will do my best each month to send you something for your services. You may share this if you want. Just use my first name. Thank you for your attention to this. And again, signed Kim. So I apologize, couldn't read that one spot, but so this person wanted to join my Patreon, but because of problems with the internet and people on it, um, didn't want to sign up on the computer and is actually sent cash my way. Like I said, $20. And I'm like, normally I don't talk about the prices, but I mean, this is a different occasion. And I just thought that was really nice. So I put him up on the Patreon list. I'm sure all of you that are watching would have no issue with that. And I just thought that was really nice of him. And, to me, the internet, especially YouTube, has been an interesting ride. I started my YouTube career back in 2011 on my other channel. It was originally called Barnon 11967. And then, thanks to bullies back then and being attacked and getting death threats for me talking about the things I talked about, which is truthful stuff, I shut it down and then reopened it in 2012, I believe, called it Barnon 11970. And then in 2016, I started my comic channel, the end of 2016. Basically, when the comic crash happened in the 90s, I stopped collecting comics. didn't care about them, didn't buy a comic between, like, I would probably say either late 95 or early 96 through 2016, to the point where I knew nothing about comics. But then all of a sudden, around the end, like around September, October of 2016, all of a sudden I started getting like comic book feeds into my YouTube recommendations. And all of a sudden it just triggered me to get into collecting again. And I bought a couple of comics. And then I put that on my Bar None 11970 channel. It's probably still there. So if you look around 2016 on my Bar None 11970 channel, you might see a video where I bought a couple of comics, and at that point I didn't have a comic book channel, and I didn't think about opening another one. But that was what inspired me to open a comic book channel, and I really didn't think it would amount to much because I didn't think, especially in the beginning, that I was doing anything special. But people gravitated to it, and I got like 1,000 subscribers within my first month, which blew me away. But unfortunately, that created a lot of jealousy, a lot of hatred, a lot of people that were just making up things about me, which I don't understand that some believe till this day. And I shut down my channel in 2017 after doing a whole bunch of live shows where I used to invite people on like 3 or 4 times a week. We do videos for 8 hours at a time, and it was a blast. But then people basically, I won't say any, well, I would say that I wouldn't say the name anyway, but I don't remember their names honestly. But yeah, Splash Page, there you go. He was one of them. He can attest to those live chats. Oh, it was 2015. Geez, you're right. The end of 2015. I got mainly got popular in 2016. So you're right. See, that's good. Splash Page knows more about my history than I do. God, that's almost 10 years ago. It's been that long. Yeah, you're right. It was actually the end of 2015 that I started. Jeez, I'm losing my mind. Splash, I'm glad you're here. Mr. White Gloves, which, by the way, I'm going to say it. I was the person that gave him that name. I don't get a lot of credit for things, but I don't care. But he was one of the people, and I used to always love having him on my show, and it was a lot of fun. And then one person admitted that they used my channel, even though they said they didn't like me, which I didn't understand that. I did nothing but help these people. I don't remember their names, but the point is, I shut down that channel, disappeared for about 5 or 6 months, came back, and I've been here ever since. But my channel never recouped what I originally had, and that's perfectly fine. To the point where I have like a niche audience, like not a lot of people, but very loyal people. And I'll tell you something, as many views as I had back in those days, like I'd do live shows and there'd be 1,000 people watching. Now I'll get 15 to 30 at most. 30 is on a really good day when I'm probably ranting. But I think I've grown to appreciate the quality of people that I deal with on a regular basis, as opposed to the quantity of people that ended up, a lot of them, just using me to take advantage of my popularity at the time. And to get a gift like this, because I don't get a lot of random acts of kindness kind of videos. I think I've had maybe 4 of them in my entire YouTube career. But I've always, when you grow up poor like I did, you learn to appreciate anything you have. And the amount of people, and Splash Base says, oh, yes, that broke your heart. You thought he was a true friend. Yeah, so Splash can verify that. There was a person, I don't remember his name. I really don't remember anything about him, but I know he was military, which is what shocked me because I always thought military people had honor and loyalty and not betray people, especially the people that didn't do anything to him. But admitted during a live show that he was just using me to make money. And actually, his true feelings about how he felt about me came out in that live show. And I think you were there, Splash. So that's why he can actually verify that I don't make stories up, I don't embellish them. And I was shocked by it because a couple of people all of a sudden that I thought were friends, who I helped out a lot, hated me. And I, to this day, don't know why, but I don't care. That's the biggest thing. That at this point, I mean, if you're still the same person you were a decade ago, then you're a person that's afraid of change and growth. Like I was saying to my wife the other day about we were talking about something that was kind of like a spiritual kind of thing. And I'm like, most people think of it like having an apple seed. If you're an apple seed and you like being underground because it's safe, you don't have to worry about bugs trying to get you, you don't have to worry about, lawn service or a lawnmower running you over, and you want to stay a seed because you're underground and it's warm and it's safe, you never grow. You never sprout an apple. You never become what you were meant to be because you use fear to keep you grounded and down. So to me, if those that have followed me since my old channel, like Splash Page, they can see for the most part, and correct me if I'm wrong, that I've pretty much stayed consistent since day one, but I've also grown and changed at the same time. In other words, an apple seed will only turn into an apple tree. So it can't turn into a pear tree. It can't turn into a flower. It can't turn into a building. It can only be an apple tree. But that apple tree will grow. It will thicken. It will strengthen. It will have good days of bearing fruit, and it will have bad days of bearing no fruit, but it will always be an apple tree. So I view myself like that seed that at first was scared to grow, but when I started growing and I started seeing the fruits that I could emanate from my being, many people took advantage of what I gave to the point where they wiped the tree clean. But as I got older, I started doing meditations, started really getting deep into my personal psyche and learning about life and how life really works and really grew. I stayed very consistent with who I am as a person, but was not afraid to grow. And there are going to be growing pains. That's why people are afraid of change. Because just think, if you are a 5-year-old child and then you woke up the next day and you were 40 years old and you had to experience all that growth between going from 5 years old to 40 overnight, you'd be in a lot of pain, both physically, mentally, and emotionally. That's why things take sometimes decades to have to experience because you need time to adjust to each level of change. But if you're still the same person you were a decade ago, even sometimes a year ago, then that means you're afraid to grow and change and become better. Most people think change is bad. Well, like I said, if you want to spend your whole life underground as an apple seed, you'll never see what you can sprout into and the good that you can create. Because an apple seed may be comfortable on the ground, may be safe from birds attacking it, or a lawnmower or something destroying it, or a fire destroying it, but it will never grow to bear the gift of fruit that can help an animal or help another human being be able to thrive from the apple tree's generosity of giving part of itself to better something else. And although I'll probably never reach the quote unquote fame I did years ago, if I had the ability to go back to the way I was with the people I was with for the most part and do it over again, would I do it different? No. Or would I go back and just stay in that area where I was more popular? No. I appreciate the people that are here now, the people that come here regularly, the ones that support me, that don't just believe what somebody on the internet accuses me of without any proof. I would like to believe over the years of all I've been doing, with no controversies ever coming up, no lies of me being caught or trying to trick or deceive people, I think people can understand that I am pretty much, when I say something, unless I got wrong information, I'm not out to deceive people, trick people. I'm not out to squeeze the most dollars out of every person. I think, at least I would like to think, and I think many people agree, and that's why they've purchased from me many a time on my auctions and send me cash and send me money orders and personal checks, is because they know that they can count on me to be a man of my word. And that was something that was always something I took pride in. And that's why, like, for example, love or hate PGX or love or hate EGS, They didn't require me to sign a contract, and I wouldn't have done it if they did. I'm a person that I'm a man of my word. And if I say I'm going to do something, I either one, do it, or if I can't do it, I let somebody know. And I think that's why, for example, Anthony or Tony, if you want to call him Tony, over at EGS, even though I didn't have 1 million followers and even though I didn't get thousands of views, still wanted me to represent his business and allowed me to get 2 books a month to be graded by his company, knowing that I was a small company, and said the reason had he sought me out was because he appreciated my integrity. And that means a lot to me. So to get messages and to get things like this card, I mean, we'll keep it real. $20 is not going to, buy me a mansion. But I wouldn't have cared if it was just the card because it's the thought that counts behind it. It's the kindness. That's what matters to me. Quality over quantity. There are many channels out there all over YouTube that are extremely popular, but they're very much into themselves. Like, this is why I will never join TikTok, and I've never watched a TikTok video other than if somebody randomly posted on some channel that I watch, they post an image of somebody's TikTok. I have no desire for the amount of the look at me generations. Like, they feel like they're just that important and everybody else is that inferior to them, considering themselves Insta famous or TikTok famous or whatever. I'm like, in a way, I'm glad my channel went down the way it did because it kept me humble. I don't think I would ever become one of those people, even if I had 10 million subscribers. I mean, the ironic part is, I had so many plans of giveaways and things that I would have done over the years as my way of saying thank you for making my channel grow that never ended up taking place because there were people, and there's a big popular channel out there, and I will not say that person's name, but they made a lie about me, about PGX, saying that I get paid by them, that literally destroyed my reputation. And the person's only way of quote unquote apologizing was putting a comment that no one was ever going to read saying that they made the mistake. When Daniel Patterson, the owner of PGX, said on a video of mine that I never got paid, never will get paid, I don't want to get paid, but ruined my reputation. And a lot of people follow this individual. I don't go to his channel. I don't thumb it down. I don't spread hate. I don't tell my subscribers to go hate on people because my thing is, if somebody hates on you and you tell somebody to hate on them, then you're no better than they are. Whether they did it intentionally, whether they did it with malice, I'll never know. But as they say, by their deeds you shall know them. And with the small amount of people I have that still watch my channel, I have people that have been following me for years. To have now 11 Patreon members when I started out with only one, because I never used to mention it. And then when I started mentioning it this year, I wanted to make sure I did some kind of giveaway and not need hundreds of followers to do the giveaway. I only require 20 paid members to start the giveaways. But to go from 1 to now 11 is amazing to me. And the kind words that I get from people and the amount of people I see over and over again that come to my channel when I mean, I don't have a fancy channel. I don't have a script that I'm reading from. I'm not telling people what they want to hear. I'm very straightforward. I'm very honest. I tell my opinion. I never tell people how to think. I try and hopefully think I inspire people and try and think of life differently. And when I get things like this, yeah, I could have easily not said anything or just sent them a personal message. But I think it's important that if somebody's going to go out of their way to be kind to me, I need to be just as kind to them and personally put it out there that Kim N, that was a pleasant surprise. He's ordered for me or she's ordered for me. I'm not going to say if it's a male or a female. He, this person has purchased comics from me in well, I'm just going to say multiple books. And you guys know I sell big boy books. I'm not going to get into prices because that's his business or that's her business. And if they ever want to do a video, I don't want to take away from their ability. And they may not want to share the prices, so I'm not going to do that. But that matters to me. And I'm very old school. I'm very Gen X. I'm very New Yorker in that sense. New Yorker can be good or bad because sometimes, see, because especially with me being a Scorpion, a Scorpio who's Sicilian Italian, who grew up in New York, a lot of times, like, especially a Gen Xer, our generation was always, if you got something to say it to my face. So it took me a while to get used to the internet because people would hide behind computers and be computer tough. Now, I'm never going to sit here and say, I'm the I'm Muhammad Ali or I'm Mike Tyson. But my thing was, even if I got my rear end kicked, you're going to feel something on your end if we met face to face. If it was back in the old days when people had beefs, they would go head to head. And then if it was squashed, we'd probably end up, if we're old enough, to go out and have a few beers and shoot some pool or end up being friends afterwards. But these generations hiding behind computers and making accusations to hurt people, that almost destroyed me at one point. But I am very grateful for those people because those people who tried to break me down, I look at it like working out. If you want to strengthen your muscles, working out actually rips apart your muscle tissues. And then you have to build them back up again, and that's how they get stronger. So I am actually very grateful for some of the evil, vindictive, mean, and dishonest things that some people have done and said about me because it made me have to, well, it didn't make me, but it allowed me the opportunity to choose to look deep inside myself and grow as a human being. And maybe without them doing it, I may have never found that level. So turning that kind of lemon into lemonade, it's always a choice because if you have a bunch of lemons, if you do nothing with them, that's where they stay until they rot and they wither and they die and they fade away. But you can take those lemons and turn them into lemonade, but you have to mix it yourself. You have to come up with the idea. You have to make it happen. So I'm actually, now that I'm older and I'd like to hope I'm wiser, at least with more experience, with age comes wisdom, and be able to dig deeper and question myself. And I'm like, am I really what these people say? Or are they really just people that, because as they say, hurt people hurt people. And I'm not out to hurt anybody. I think people see here, I'm about inspiration. Now, that doesn't mean I might not say something that you don't agree with. But if you get to the point where you're so offended by my right to an opinion and feel like it's a disrespect to you because I don't agree with your way of thinking, that says more about you as a person than me as a person. Because I will never say my way is the right way and your way is wrong, because all people's truths are their truths, and the same thing can have opposite reactions and both be true. And I respect that. I can disagree with somebody, and there are plenty of people I'm subscribed with that sometimes I'll watch their videos and I shake my head at how wrong I think they are based on my beliefs. But I'm not sending them hateful messages. I'm not telling people to cancel them because they have the right to their opinion, even if it's only right for them. And when I see kindness like this and the support I got for my auction, I mean, at first, I'll admit I was a little frightened when I did the sneak preview when nobody was making even any inquiries about an offer. That was the first time that ever happened. And then I almost fell into the trap of people saying that, oh, the economy's bad and people just don't have money and things are too expensive and yada. I almost started believing that until I really, again, got into my deep core and said, just because that stuff may be true, it doesn't mean it's true for everybody. Because remember, ladies and gentlemen, in the Great Depression of I believe it was 1929, more millionaires came out of the Great Depression than any other time in U.S. history. So there are people who can find opportunities even in times that are hard. And this auction ended up being the best auction I've ever had, and as a matter of fact, probably better than the last 3 auctions I did combined. And it's a lot of it is thanks to, I would say, probably 70% of the sales were repeat people who have bought from me multiple times. And there were some new people this time. And it was because I didn't give in to that, oh, well, everybody says it's a bad time to invest, and oh, and everybody's losing money, and oh, it's a downturn, and oh, it's the wrong time to sell. I didn't feed into that, and I had the best sales of, like I said, probably the last 3 auctions combined. You are limited only by your belief system. And here's the wonderful thing about a belief system. Whether you believe in something or don't believe in something, you have something in common. Both sides have something in common. You don't know. And a belief can always be changed. If you look up at the sky and it to you looks green, but it's actually blue, and somebody shows you why it's blue and it makes sense to you, you can change your belief and say, you know what? I thought it was green, but now that you describe the type of blue it is, I can concur that you're correct. It's the people that are not willing to ever have any wiggle room to grow and spread those apple trees, branches, and grow those fruits that will never be what they're meant to be. Serge says, and what did Chris, the people don't do as they don't do, they do the difference. They listen to what people want to say here. That was an interesting way to put it. But he says, that's what I love about you, Chris. You don't give up and you keep fighting fighting a fight. And that's why the community loves you very much. Thank you, Serge. I appreciate that. I can't say I fight the good fight. I just don't go against the current. This is how I view life. And I think this is why some people like this and why many people don't, because some people are here for comics, and that's perfectly fine. I understand that. This is not a we love philosophy channel, but I add this stuff and it's just part of who I am. But this is how I kind of look at life. If you view yourself as a large stone embedded into a middle of a stream, that stone is going to be bombarded with water and will be strong enough to hold its own. But over time, the flow always wins, and eventually that rock will be reduced down to a pebble and then finally goes with the flow of the stream. So, yes, people always say fight the current. All fighting the current does, it might make you temporarily stronger, but it will also eventually make you weaker, and eventually you'll go the way the stream wants you to go. The stream always takes you down to the even level field. The more you fight nature, the more nature will always win. And the way you can tell if you're going against nature is you trust your heart instead of your head. If your head says to do something, but your heart says, well, wait a minute, I don't think I should do that. Trust your instincts and you will go far. And that even means just because somebody may mention something that everybody else agrees with, and it might be scary, know that you have the choice of what outcome you want your life to end up in. If you want to be like everybody else who follows everybody else and ends up a failure because other people said they were a failure. I mean, let me tell you something. When I was growing up, I had friends and family tell me I was never going to amount to anything. That was very hard to deal with growing up as a child. And I could have allowed that to happen. I mean, I grew up with an alcoholic, amongst other things that evil people can do. I could have easily been a woman abuser. I could have easily been an alcoholic. I mean, not for nothing, I was a DJ. And when I used to drink, I used to be able to literally, it was allowed to go behind the bar and make any drink I want. I would literally make rum and cokes where it would be the glass would be this much rum with a tiny splash of coke on the thing. And I'd drink 5 or 6 of them like it was nothing. And then one day I just decided I don't want to drink anymore. It's not good for me. It's not healthy for me. It's not going to make my life better. And one day I just stopped. You can change your life. You can make it whatever you want, including make it horrible. And That's why I'm not bitter against anybody that maybe lied about me or embellished the truth or interpreted things the wrong way or tried to ruin my reputation, because they don't matter to me. It's the ones that care. My wife and my mother and my cats mean more to me than any hater, all the haters combined. All their energy combined could not match the level of the love I have for my cats, let alone my wife and my mother. You can be whatever you want, but if you live with fear, then you are that apple seed that's comfortable on the ground where it's supposedly safer, and you never grow to your full potential and the gifts that you will be able to bestow on the world. You will remain that seed that never changes because you're afraid and assume that just because something changes, that automatically makes it bad. Well, let me ask you something. How many of you are still wearing the same pair of underwear that you got when you got your first pair? Do you think if you never changed your underwear, good things would happen? Think of it in those perspectives. So when I got this letter and somebody was kind enough because they didn't want to go on Patreon because of their computer being hacked or their internet being hacked, they didn't get into the personal part and I don't want to dig into it. It's none of my business. But they still wanted to be a show that they want to support my channel by doing something like this. I have to acknowledge that. And I have to be thankful. Now, does that mean I want everybody doing that? No. I'm not here to try and extort money out of people. But I remember for the longest time, and that's why I think I didn't mention Patreon, even though I had it, or didn't do it very often, is I was almost like I almost in my life was brought up to almost feel bad when somebody was giving me something. Until one day somebody said to me, I don't remember who it was because this was like a decade ago or something. I don't remember if it was on YouTube or somebody in person. But they said, never deny somebody the happiness and joy they feel by giving somebody something that makes them happy or joyful. I mean, I'll give you an example of what I mean. Have you ever seen a movie that you watched when you were a child over and over again to the point where the movie means nothing to you at this point, and you've watched it so many times you could recite it by heart? And then all of a sudden, you either meet somebody, a boy or a girl, or you have a child, and you introduce that movie to them for the first time, and you experience the joy of somebody experiencing their first time joy of what you had maybe decades ago. And you actually feel that joy because you're sharing it with them. So you're almost seeing it for the first time through their eyes. That's a form of a gift. Unfortunately, most people when they do gifts, they almost is like I even had family members like this, like it was about the price tag. Oh, look how this has got a fancy name on the label, so it has to be good. No. I mean, a gift is not about look at the name brand or look at the price tag. It's I thought of you, this particular item or song or word or deed reminded me of you, and I thought, what a great gift to give to you. And if you give somebody from the heart a gift that may not be the most expensive thing, because you might not have the money to do so, but says, I thought of you, of all the people in the world, I thought of you, and I thought this would make you happy, and it genuinely made them happy, that's going to make you feel good inside. So when I heard that information, I stopped denying those that wanted to be giving the ability to make themselves happy by making somebody else happy through their gift of kindness. I hope that makes sense to you. And I appreciate each and every one of you that are here for the right reasons. So with that being said, the auction that I did the beginning of last week or the end of last week, you have still until Friday to purchase any of the books that are left. Now, I did a video a couple of days ago of the remaining books. All of those are still available except for the Showcase 22, which somebody is buying. So that one's no longer available, but everyone on the updated video is still available to be able to purchase until Friday. So if you're interested, go check it out. That's why I do it. People told me about the payment plans that I've extended for people with no interest. They said most YouTubers, they've even asked other YouTubers to do it and they won't. Well, then they don't get any money. They don't get any support. They don't have somebody help them pay bills. I mean, this situation, because with me being unemployed since October of last year, has put a lot of burden and pressure on my wife to work and pay the bills. Now, of course, every time I needed bills to get paid, I would do an auction, but I'd make just enough to get some bills paid, and then we'd have to stress out again. This auction allowed me to show my wife the confidence that I can stay at home and be with my wife, which she absolutely loves. She loves that I stay home with her all the time. She's just that type of person. Not that she's insecure or anything. She's a very strong woman, but she likes that I'm around. I mean, she just left to visit her family for the first time since we came here from New York. And I couldn't go because I have the cats to feed and everything, and I have to take care of the house. But this is the first time, because yesterday, the 25th, was our 13th anniversary. This will be the longest we've been apart since the beginning of when we got married. So we've never been more than 8 hours apart in 13 years. But this auction and the people that were purchasing more than I even could imagine that people would purchase allowed me to show my wife that she doesn't need to worry. She doesn't need to support because she had this fear that, if she lost her job or something, we could lose everything. But I wanted to show her that that's one of the reasons why I got some of these comics and I keep getting multiples. So I get to me, this is almost like a job that I love to do. I literally can make money buying comics, which I've loved to do since I was a child, even though I stopped after the crash in the 90s because I discovered women back then. I get to get comics that I love, share them with you guys who love them as well, turn around and sell them at fair prices that people keep saying all the time. I definitely undersell most people, and people are very appreciative with the payment plans and everything, and that I don't charge taxes and I allow flexibility, and it makes them happy. I mean, if the world around us could be like that, where you could be at home, you could set your own hours, you could make good money, you can do what you love, spend time with those you love, and that's your career, who would ever not want that? But people are so afraid of that. And I think even my wife at some point was afraid that, oh, this is too good to be true. And, what happens if times get bad? Well, this time with this auction showed that she'll never worry about that ever again. Because I'm not going to say the amount that I made, but I made enough to where if we had to buy another one of these houses that I bought, which are not expensive at all, because we do live in a manufactured home. So we're not living the life of luxury, but we moved here. So my plan was within about a 5-year range, which is coming on 5 years in September of this year. So my 5-year plan is going in the right direction to wait until the market crashes, which we're still waiting for. It's starting to happen, but we're waiting for the housing market to crash and buy our forever home. So we bought whatever we can afford to buy quick just to get out of New York and get to here. But if I had to buy another one of these, I could almost pay cash for it and get my bills paid and be able to buy more comics, which, by the way, I see people all the time saying, oh, this is the worst time to be buying comics and wait for deals and stuff. You wait too long, you miss out. Just in the past 12 hours, I found great deals. One of them just arrived today, and I'll do a video on it tomorrow. I'm not going to tell you what it is, and I'm not going to open it today. I'm going to do it tomorrow. But this, and I'll just tell you the price of this book. They wanted about, I believe, about 500 to 550, not including shipping and taxes, and I got them down to 300. I've got other deals coming where I was able to cut the price in half. And all of these people initially said no. But because I know how to speak to people, I do it respectfully, I do it kindly. I've had people where I say, I completely understand. This is as high as I could go for these particular books. It's what I feel comfortable with the grades and things like that. And I said, if you can't do it, I'm completely fine and I totally respect it. But if you ever change your mind, contact me. And you'd be amazed at how many people, after 5 minutes of thinking about it, say, you know what? I'm going to take the chance with you, and I'm going to take your offer. And it happens time and time again. And all of these are, and the ones that are coming, are all brand new listed books. And because I don't have a 9 to 5 job, and because I can stay home, I'm able to go on the internet and spend sometimes hours at a time looking for these deals because they are out there. And if you're watching channels, I don't care if they're the nicest person in the world, if they're telling you that you can't find deals now because it's a bad time and it's a bad economy and it's a bad this and a bad that, why would you want to ever hook your wagon, hook your horse to a wagon that's being driven by negative Nancy? Don't listen to the people that tell you, oh, you can't do this, and it's too hard, and it's too bad, and it's too low, and it's too scary. Why do you want to attach yourself to that kind of energy and then be shocked that that's the energy that follows you? You are an energetic being. You can take that any way you want, but if you base it down to physics, you are made of atoms. You are made of a energy that's held together through magnetism. That is why you attract things to you. It is not what you think. It is not what you hope. It is not what you believe. It's what you feel. So, what do most people feel the most? Love and fear. Those are the two strongest emotions that come from the heart. So, you will attract not what you hope for, not what you wish for, not what you pray for, but what you feel. So, if you want to have a mansion and you feel you don't deserve one, you're never going to get one, no matter how much you pray, because your fear is the energy that creates the magnetism that pulls that energy from the universe and says, this must be what they want because they're portraying the energy of fear, so let's give them what they want to prove that they're right. People don't realize that you guys are the superheroes. You ever wonder if you think what it boils down to, why we love comics? We want the hero to come save the day. But what we've all forgotten is we are the hero. If you wait for the hero, you will wait forever. You are the hero. Be the hero. Be the one that steps up and stops the criminal. Be the one that looks towards the light. Be the one that saves your family. Be the one that saves yourself. Stop waiting for Superman. You are Superman. There's a reason energetically why a lot of us are connected to superheroes in the way that we are, because we see them as powerful beings that can change universes with their powers. But that's exactly who we are by our feelings and our thoughts connection. Your brain is nothing more than a computer, like the screen you see on your computer screen. What you type into the computer shows up on the screen. The computer did not make those words. You did. It's just displaying them. That's why they tell you, they don't say follow your head. Now, they do say follow your nose, but that's Toucan Sam. And if you know what I'm talking about with that, put it in the comment section. And that's not meant to be taken seriously. But what do they say? They say follow your heart. Your heart is multiple times more powerful than your brain will ever be on its best day, even if you are a super genius, because this is processing. This is a processor. It processes things, and it can only process what it can understand. That's why A brain has to try and make sense of things that may not make sense in the grand scheme of things, and usually gets it wrong. But your heart knows what's right. You can't fake true love, for example. You could fake love. You can say to anybody, I love you, and it mean nothing. But when you have your firstborn child, or you rescue an animal and you see the look in its eyes that you saved its life, and you feel any kind of sensation just by thinking of that image alone, it shows the energetic power you have. And I don't know how many people are watching right now. All right, there's 14 people, so I'm actually shocked that many people watching. But 14 people on a comic book channel are listening to basically something that they would find on a spiritual channel. You'd be amazed at how powerful you are. You are so powerful that you can shut off your power and not display your power to prove that you're not powerful, but you can only prove you're not powerful because you're so powerful that you can shut off your power to prove that you're not powerful. That's the paradox. And it's like saying that you want abundance, but you say, I don't have anything. Well, you're looking at it wrong. You always have abundance, but you could have abundance in lack. In other words, you always see abundance as having a lot of something. Well, if you have nothing, then you have an abundance of nothing. So you always have an abundance. So the idea is, where are you putting your energy into? Are you putting your abundance level of definition into it only has to be a certain level of something? Or do you say everything is abundance, even the abundance of lacking abundance? You could be an expert in nothing and still be an expert, because it takes an expert to know that they're an expert in nothing. Because how many people have said, I think it was Nietzsche that said, the more you know nothing. So anyway, I'm going to show you the other thing I promised in the beginning of this video. Like I said, I did a couple of those toy unboxings where I bought a whole bunch of stuff years ago. And I had my mother mail some of them back over the past couple of months, and I just didn't do the last one because most people weren't watching. I might do them again. I mean, if 25 people watch, if those people are happy, it's good enough for me. But they mailed this. I got two of these back when they first came out. These have never been opened. They're pretty big. But these actually have some value. And I had the receipt in it when I bought it. And this was purchased September 24th of 2007. So almost 20 years ago, or 30 years ago. No, 20 years ago. So 7, 17, 17, 27. Yeah, almost 20 years ago. And this is the Halo 3 Legendary Edition. It's not the Xbox game itself. I mean, the video game console. But this was the one that came with the life-size helmet. It's still sealed, still in the original box. The shipping box, it says, street dated item, do not sell before September 25th, 2007. And I bought it on 9/24. So they actually technically sold it before then, but I guess they didn't ship it out until after. So this is, they'll show on the back. That's what it comes with. So I bought two of these. Both of them have never been opened. The only thing is, I guess the tape on the top of the box damaged the top a little bit, but what's inside that matters. So I bought two of those, and I've looked them up. I think these sell for about $500 a piece, somewhere around there. The receipt would be too small to see. Well, let me see if I can. I paid, I don't think it's going to focus, $99 a piece. $99.82 a piece for $199.64. Shipping fee, which is amazing. The shipping fee was $3.94. Those things are huge. It cost my mother $83.55 to mail that from New York to my house here in Florida. It cost me $3.94 back in 2007 to have it shipped. The tax was $17.56 for a total of $221.14 for both of them. And those sell for like around $500 a piece. And as they get older, I'm sure by 2027, with a 20th anniversary, it's probably going to be worth even more. But I thought I would show that because I remember playing Halo. I remember the first Halo. I mean, please, I still remember I had the original Atari 2600. When I was a kid, my favorite game was when Asteroids came out for the 2600. That blew me away. And back then, I had only a black and white TV. So the first time we got a color TV and I was able to see the game in color, it just blew me away. But Serge says, Master Chief, you have Chris normally goes for 350 a piece or 350 PM a piece, according to what you wrote. That's fine, considering I paid 99 a piece. At this point, I'll take it. But like I said, the things like that, the longer you hold on to them, the less of them will end up still being in the original boxes, because there are people who will open these so they can take the unopened video game and send it to get graded. So, yeah, I bought these the day they were announced and haven't opened them. I mean, I bought a regular version of the video game for Halo 3, and that was such a great game. I think Halo 3, in my opinion, the first three were the best. After that, they went downhill, in my opinion. Halo 4 was and the others just started getting ridiculous. I think to me, Halo 3 was the peak of the Halo series. But yeah, those were cool. So yeah, amazing shipping. It was nice that I was smart enough to at least keep the receipt on that one. And never give up on your dreams. Don't worry about how many people watch you, how many people like you, how many people trust you. If you only have 5 people in your life and those 5 people are people you can depend on, cherish them. If you only have one person in your life, whether it's your mother or your father or a friend or a relative or somebody you're married to or somebody you're dating, if you have one person in your life that you can trust with your heart and soul, you are wealthy beyond anyone's pocketbook or wallet or bank account. Stop worrying about the superficial things of today. It's like, oh, you're not important if you don't have followers, or you're not important if you haven't made a movie, or you're not important if you don't have as many numbers in a bank account as I do. You are important. Otherwise, you would not exist. Let me tell you something. For the universe to be perfect, it has to have everything in it, including you. You cannot have infinity without everything. So without you, everything would cease to be and would cease to be perfect at the very minimum. You may be afraid to grow from that seed that's protected under the warm soil, but you will never grow to reach your true potential if you let fear dominate you. No matter what anybody else says, no matter what anybody else does, no matter what happens to everybody else is irrelevant to what's happening to you. You think the world is crazy right now? Look where you are right now. Focus on this particular moment right now. Does anything that's happening around the world that may scare you, that may give you doubt, may worry you, may trouble you, is any of it affecting you right now in this particular moment of me pointing out? Focus on the now. Take a deep breath. Focus how you feel right now. You're okay, aren't you? Live in the now. You create that now. Even if you were to go back in time and had the ability to time travel, which people don't realize, you could never go back in time because everything exists in this moment. So you're only going to another parallel universe that seems to be a different time, because time is a manufactured thing. And I'll give you a prime example. If you have a DVD that has, let's just say, Star Wars on it, well, when you put the DVD into a reader and displays the image, that is your visual eyes seeing the universe for what it is. What you're watching is the present. What you've already watched is the past, and what you've yet to watch is the future. But you notice all of that is on the disc already. You're just zipping from one moment to the next. And every moment you watch is that particular moment. So let's say there was such a thing as a time machine and you went back 100 years. Okay. You go back 100 years. Well, isn't that your now? It's always now. So don't live in the future. Don't live in the past. Live in the moment. And if you live in the moment, you will realize, because like I've said all the time on both my channels, you need real eyes to realize that when you live right now in the moment, you're fine. The world may be collapsing around you, but your world right now in this moment is not collapsing. And maybe you might breathe a little better. Maybe you might put a smile on your face. Maybe that builds a little confidence. Maybe it changes your outlook, even if it's a little bit. Because a seed doesn't grow into a tree overnight. It takes time. And if you grow too fast, too quickly, it will physically affect you. Just like I said, if you were 5 years old and the next morning you woke up and you're 50, you're going to experience a lot of growing pain, both physically and mentally and emotionally. So that's why it takes 50 years of this illusion of time to be able to gradually get to where you need to be. There's a reason why, if you want to become a master in something, it tends to not happen overnight. You need sometimes decades of dedication to master something. And even when you master something, there's always more you can learn. And when something is infinite, you will always have to learn. And if anybody that says infinity and all that stuff is superstitious nonsense, I will challenge them with this. Start with the number 1, add one number, and keep going until you reach the end. And let me know what that last number is. So if you think infinity doesn't exist, start counting and stop when you reach the end, when you find the last number. There is no such thing. So the people that want to say, oh, it's superstition or it's hippie nonsense or it's just whatever, roll your eyes to craziness, start at 1, go to 2, then to 3, then to 4, and keep going until you reach the last number. And when you reach the last number, please let me know what that is. You will never reach the last number, even if you go in the negative direction. So -1 through infinity. 0 is the starting point. That is the origin. That is the all for one and one for all. That is the center. Everything else is just a branch out of the singularity. And you worry about life, about things. You're an infinite being that's going to live forever. You are in a submarine traveling to a deep world under the sea, because your submarine is the vehicle that can allow you as your body to survive the pressures of that world, to survive, but you can't live there forever. That's why our bodies break down. We are infinite beings. Our body is a submarine bringing us to below sub-levels where the pressure would kill our souls. It wouldn't kill it, it would dissipate it. And that's why our bodies break down and we can't live here forever. But we can't just live here. That's like a submarine. It cannot stay underwater forever. It has to submerge and go back home. And you're worried about not being able to pay a bill? Or you're worried about somebody saying on TV there's going to be a nuclear war or climate change? Like they haven't said that for centuries to try and scare people? There isn't going to be another monster around the corner? Like I said, watch the movie Labyrinth. If you haven't seen the Jim Henson movie Labyrinth, watch it. And at the end of the movie, spoiler alert, when she confronts the bad guy, let's just put it that way, she doesn't stab him, she doesn't shoot him, she doesn't blow him up, She doesn't throw him in prison, doesn't tie him down with a rope, doesn't hit him over the head, doesn't knock him out with gas, doesn't set him on fire. All she does is realizes, because you need realize to realize, that she had the power all along. And she turns around and says, "You have no power over me." Think of it from a superhero's perspective. Villains like Mysterio, their job is to convince you that their illusions are real, to be able to trick you into what they are doing to make you think it's real, when it's nothing more than an illusion. But if you believe in their illusion, you believe that what they are doing is genuine and real. Once you realize that Mysterio is just a human being that's using smoke and mirrors, and once you understand how the trick works, it cannot affect you. Like the Wizard of Oz, ladies and gentlemen, remember at the end, when they realized the monster, that flaming head that was supposedly the Wizard of Oz, was nothing more than just a feeble old man that was the mayor of the Oz, scaring people into submission through fear and lies, was just a man behind the curtain. And in the end, they found out that Dorothy had the power to go home all along. But if somebody would have told her in the beginning of what was happening, she wouldn't have believed it. So she had to travel the path. In other words, live their life, live their experience. She had to gain brains to think about and process information, heart, which means you had to trust your true power, and courage, in other words, to not give in to fear, to then be able to understand that she had the power all along and nobody ever gave it to her. She just forgot it and had to be reminded. And the way you remind yourself is through experience, which is walking the path. You'd be amazed at how many movies, how many songs, how many poems, how many kids' rhymes, and how many things that have been passed throughout the world, including religious text, tells you everything you need to know about what life really is, but it's in coded message. So while most people watch a movie and just be entertained, there are others that will see deeper meanings behind them, whether they are coincidental or not, whether they're intentional or not, I'll leave it up to you, that helps the smarter person to be able to decode information that's being provided to you. When it comes to your brain thinks about stuff in the same way as if you're listening to Justin Bieber on the radio, that Justin Bieber is actually in your radio singing to you. Justin Bieber is not in your radio. Although his voice is, the transmission is, the electric signal is, but he's not actually in the radio. When you watch whatever news network you watch on TV, those people are not trapped inside your TV, even though you can see them and hear them. So the information you get from your brain does not come from you. Those that say that is crazy, to me, that just says they're not on the level yet that they will eventually be at. And that's what the whole purpose of infinity is. Infinity exists so you can take forever to find your way back home. And if you think of life that way, that makes life beautiful and it makes life make sense. That love is so powerful that infinity was created so you can have the free will and the freedom to experience everything in existence. And no matter how long it takes you to find love and find yourself again, to come back home. And it will always be there waiting for you to do it when you are ready to do it. Because remember, ladies and gentlemen, you have free will, which means you can do and say anything, believe anything, hurt anyone, love anyone. But remember, Just because you have free will does not mean you are free from consequence of your actions or inactions, whether they be right or wrong, whether they be malicious, whether they be accidental, whether it be caring. Only you know that. If you want to believe that you can't get deals on comics, what a surprise you can't get deals on comics. So, in other words, you are so powerful that your heart has been led to believe through others that you cannot do something because it's difficult or it's hard or no one else has done it. So you fall into the trap of Mysterio's illusion. You believe it to be true, and you're amazed at the rabbit being pulled out of the hat. Or you can realize that they're just suggesting something and you could not believe in it, and you could be like the girl in Labyrinth that turns around to the Goblin King and says, "You have no power over me." You could say, "Thank you for the suggestion. I do not accept your version, even if it's right for you, even if it's true for everyone else. I don't hold it true to myself." And you can change your world in an instant. Or you could be so powerful as to believe all of this is bullshit, and you'll be right. So my thing is, if you have the ability to control the good, the bad, the ugly, and believe whatever you want, why would you want to believe in something that could be destructive or counterproductive for your own and your family's happiness? And I have some of my trolls and my bullies and haters on the internet on both my channels to thank for some of the nasty comments, some of the prank calls, some of the harassments, some of the lies, some of the abuse that I've dealt with. Because instead of beating myself up, shooting myself in the head, I faced the depressions, I faced the down times, and said, I will never give up. I will always find a way, and I don't have to fight to do it. I just have to understand or understand that I can control any information that comes my way to the point of choice of if I'm willing to accept it or dismiss it. And whichever I do, I will be sending that vibration out and getting it back. So the universe will always say what you truly feel to be true will be true. That is your power. But others can manipulate you. If you want Mysterio to make their illusions seem real to you, that does not make them real. It's just your perception of them. So Mysterio can only affect those with weak minds who are willing to believe the tricks that Mysterio knows are not real, but can take advantage of those that are not on a vibrational level to be able to understand that and can believe that if Mysterio puts a monster in front of him, that that monster is real. And somebody that thinks an illusion is real can die of a real heart attack. So you can take an illusion, believe in it so much that it can actually affect your physical being, but it's by choice. And once you understand you have that choice, you can make, if you choose to, another choice. So if you watch this whole video, I promise you, you got something out of it. Otherwise, you would not have listened to this whole thing. And maybe just one little bit of this helps you understand things a little bit better, or maybe puts you on a different path, maybe puts you on a better path. And that came from a person that has maybe 15 people watching, will maybe have 200 people watch it, who's on a comic book channel that made a video because a kind person named Kim sent me $20 through the mail for my kindness and wanted to help support my ability to feed all those stray cats. When you realize how life really can work, remember, ladies and gentlemen, a roller coaster. For some people, a roller coaster is the scariest thing. Some people will get sick on them. Some people will never go on them. But then you have people that see a roller coaster as an amazing ride, a fun time, a thrill a minute. Which person do you want to be? The person that's afraid to go on the roller coaster because maybe somebody got killed on one, or maybe somebody got hurt on one, or somebody said that it's unsafe or it's whatever, or you just don't like being scared? Or do you want to be the person that just lives life to their fullest and just has a great time? People see things that they don't understand as bad. Surprises can also be good. Have you ever gotten a present for Christmas or your birthday and didn't know what it was? I bet you it was probably good. Was a surprise. You didn't know what it was. How many people get a present at Christmas and say, "Oh, I don't know. I don't think I can open this. I mean, that's scary. I don't know what's in this box. It could be a bomb. It could be a gun. It could be a cobra. It could be AIDS. I can't ever open this box. I'm going to put it down because I heard somebody opened a box one time and their head exploded. I don't want to do that." Just imagine if every birthday, every Christmas, every holiday, you got a gift from somebody that was from the heart and was from love, and you were too afraid to open it because you were so scared of the unknown that you didn't want to take the chance. That's how most people choose to live their life and wonder why they're not happy. So I used to get mad at my haters and the people who lied about me and stuff. Now I feel sorry for them because I guarantee you those people still hate me for nothing, for no reason. I've done nothing to hurt them. And matter of fact, I don't even remember their names. But they can't forget about me. So, in other words, they're the seed that's still underground because they're afraid to grow. I'm starting to grow and spread my first apples, ready to give them to people that are in need. I feel sorry for those people because they're not going to ever experience some of the things I've felt in my life. But to feel those things, I had to go through hell and back. You guys have followed me on some interesting journeys. But yet, I've never given up, even when there were times I shared with you things that probably most people would never share, even with their therapists. Which I don't believe in ever having a therapist. If you nobody knows you better than you. And if you cannot solve your problem, why would you think somebody who doesn't know you can solve your problems? You can solve your problems. If you can't solve your problems, it means you don't want to because you're too afraid to look inside and see the real you and be able to understand that it's okay to have faults or that it's okay to make mistakes. It's just repeating them that's the problem. Once you realize you make a mistake, you can choose never to do it again. Or you can keep doing the same thing over and over again and feeling bad, but it's not anybody else's fault you're doing a stupid thing. Choice, consequence. Start taking responsibility for your actions. Like I was saying to my wife, because we get into these philosophical things a lot, and sometimes she likes it, and sometimes she feels like she's being lectured, but she's honest, and I appreciate that. Just imagine you walking down the street and you see a hornet's nest, and you're like, well, I don't want to hurt it, but I'm just going to go over and I'm going to tap on the hornet's nest. I'm not going to be violent. I'm not going to knock it down. I'm just going to tap on it. Well, if you tap on that hornet's nest, what do you think's going to happen? Do you think the hornets are going to come out and say, "Hey, welcome to the neighborhood. Here's a nice housewarming present"? Or do you think they're all going to come out, swarm you and sting you, possibly killing you, or at least very much getting you stung to the point where you're going to have a bad day? Now, your intention may not have been harmful, but you tapped a hornet's nest. You created the issue. The response happened because of what you did. So, yeah, you got the worst end of the deal, and yeah, you might not have been trying to purposely cause pain. You sure got some back. So the life, most people would see that as, oh, that's so unfair. All I did was tap the hornet's nest, and now I'm in the hospital because I got stung 500 times. Well, maybe instead of saying, woe is me, maybe you should say, you know what? I learned a valuable lesson. I learned that I should not tap on a hornet's nest. Because the stupid ones will do it again and say, woe is me. So if you are a woe is me type of person, then you're not taking responsibility for something that you did or you said or you believe that you would not budge to move. Because remember, ladies and gentlemen, yes, it could take a bunch of twigs to create some strength, but no amount of twigs is ever going to not be able to be broken. Why do you think they have to keep repainting bridges every year? Because even the strongest bridge made out of the strongest steel will eventually crack and crumble and turn back into dust. From dust we came, the dust we come back to. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. So with that being said, if you appreciate this, I would love to hear a comment. Take the time and effort to tell me you watched the whole video if you did, and what you got out of it, if anything. Even if you think I'm full of shit, or you think I'm batshit crazy, and you think everything I said was completely wrong. You have that right. Doesn't make you right, at least in my eyes, but you have the right to do it. If you want to hit the thumbs up, great. You want to hit the thumbs down because you feel like you just wasted 10 years of your life or 5 minutes of your life or 10 minutes of your life. First of all, if you volunteered to come here to watch a video and then you leave a comment saying, oh, I just wasted 15 minutes of your life or a half hour or an hour of your life, I don't remember putting a gun to anyone's head to make you stay. So you wasted your own life. If you didn't get anything good out of this and you thought it was a waste of time, and then you're going to criticize my right to say something as your waste of time, well, you were the one dumb enough to stay. Consequence, reaction, responsibility. When the world starts taking more of those things seriously, the world will be a better place. Till then, everybody's going to sit around judging everybody else, criticizing everybody else, saying everybody else is wrong and you're always right, caring about themselves, not helping others, getting the most they can from everybody else, instead of being a helping hand, instead of being a loving hand, and wondering why the world is turning to shit. The world may turn to shit, but the smart ones will have some really good farms coming up with all that free manure they're begetting. One man's treasure, one man's garbage is another man's treasure. So if the world's turning to shit, that sucks for most people, but I'll be a person that turns around and has a lot of free manure to sell all the farmers and the people that want to grow their gardens because they need that fertilizer. So if you cannot make your fortune, you're not trying hard enough, you're not thinking hard enough, you're not giving yourself credit. And your fortune could be just enough to pay the bills, just enough to get by. You know what, ladies and gentlemen? Most people complain. They say, well, my nose is just above water. Well, it's a lot better than being under. Be grateful that your nose is just above the water, because an inch lower, you wouldn't be having a good time for very long. When you're ready to think more positively and see the benefit of the things that you do have instead of focusing on the things you do not have, you'll live a much happier life. But most people are too afraid, and they're not at a level yet to where they can do that. But they will, because that's why infinity was created. You will have forever to figure it out. And I hope you do. So thanks for listening to me. I'd love to read your comments. Subscribe if you want to. If you want to join my Patreon, you can go to patreon.com/welovecomics. Once we get to 20 paid members per month, I'm going to start doing some giveaways. So we're at 11 now, thanks to Kim and the inspiration for this video. So somebody else, if you got something good out of this video, you can thank Kim for that, because without that person's kindness, I wouldn't have had the inspiration to make this video that might be helping you right now. It's called paying it forward. It just shows that even good things can spread. Thanks for watching. And don't forget, it's not you, it's not I, it is We Love Comics. Let me know what you think about the AI art, and I'll see you next video.